Hi Sajis, welcome back to Dev Astrology. Today we are going to be doing the entire 2025 analysis. And you can watch this video as Sagittarius Ascendant Rising or Sagittarius Moon as well. So this has been a question that has been cropping up a lot of times, and I thought I'll just make this call out at the start of the video itself. Now guys, 2025 is an year of transits. You have some of the biggest transits happening this year for all major planets. You have Saturn moving in from its own sign of Aquarius into the sign of Pisces. Then you have the Rahu Ketu axis also moving this year. Rahu will be moving into its own sign of Aquarius from current position of Pisces, whilst Ketu will be moving from Virgo to the sign of Leo. Then you have another big transit, your Lagna Lord Jupiter, which is usually staying into one zodiac sign for about a year or so, is going to be getting into an Atichari movement, which is a fast-paced movement for a planet. And it is currently positioned in its sign of Taurus, from where it will be moving into the sign of Gemini. And within a few months, it will move into its sign of exaltation, that of Cancer. But apart from this, folks, there are also movements of rest of the other planets. And we have some of the biggest transits of Venus, which gets into exaltation in the sign of Pisces for about 110 days. You will have Mars, which is currently in retrogression, in debilitation in Cancer. It will go back into Gemini, then come back into Cancer and further move ahead in its direct motion in the sign of Leo, Virgo, and henceforth. So without further ado, guys, let's try and understand what these transits are going to mean for you as the months proceed. First and foremost, Venus is going to get into the sign of Pisces on Jan 27th. And this is going to be where it is going to get exalted, and it will come in conjunction with Rahu as well. Now, Venus for you guys, Sagittarius, is the lord of your 6th house as well as your 11th house. So you're lord of daily regimen, hard work, challenges, job, divorce, problems, as well as the lord of your gains, benefits, wish fulfillment. And it is going to get exalted in your 4th house. What a beautiful placement, because directionally also Venus will be very comfortable in this location. Now, as Venus gets into its exaltation with Rahu, it is going to be in this conjunction for 110 days, roughly 3.5, 4 months period. And that means there is going to be a stupendous, magnanimous expansion for you for all 4th house presence. You are going to feel elated. There is going to be an improvement in your mental health. Your emotional issues seem to get sorted. 6th Lord, Venus, moving 11 places away into the 4th house, which means that you will be potentially having possibilities of taking a humongous loan for acquiring some big assets. And the asset is going to be a movable, immovable property. You might purchase a new car, vehicle. Yes, Venus signifies that. You might bring in new projects that add to the beautification, add to the overall look and feel of your home. And the reason I keep on iterating magnanimous is because Rahu's conjunction is going to force you to think big. It is going to force you to think elaborate. And that's what this Venus will bring to your 4th house. At the same time, one might think that would this Venus bring any negative challenges with respect to obstacles, health issues, etc.? Yes, there is a probability, but Venus is in its sign of exaltation. So, if you have a negative situation of Venus in your natal chart, or if your Dasha, Antardasha currently that you are running based on your natal chart itself, that is where you could see some sort of tricky situations. And I would want you to iterate and understand here that transits typically have 15 to 20% of an impact in your life. More importantly, how your natal chart is performing, the kind of dashas you are going through, is going to give you a direction as to how the period is going to pan out for you. Now, this Venus is also the lord of your 11th. So you will see that somewhere or the other, even after facing challenges, because it's the 6th movement that is happening here, even after facing certain challenges, you will be able to overcome them. You will be able to achieve your objectives, which is a very important thing to happen. And that is going to bring a lot of mental peace for you. So guys, you have to gear up, Sagittarius. Whilst this movement of Venus happens, it will be in exchange with Jupiter, because Jupiter is going to be sitting in your 6th house itself. Parivartan Yoga is going to come up in place for you guys in terms of the transit. And that is where this is, I anticipate that this movement is going to be very positive, conducive from all aspects. Especially many people who are in employment, working in some sort of a job, if you're looking for any kind of competitive examinations that you're looking forward to appear into, all those areas definitely see a positive uptick. This Rahu is going to be giving an aspect to your seventh house as well, along with, your 10th house as well, along with Venus, which is pretty interesting because this aspect, though debilitated from Venus, is going to push you to work harder at your workplace. It is going to bring out that level of respect from the social circle as well. And it is going to be at a good level. It is going to give you that prestige that you were seeking for, Sagittarius. So again, that falls in the right quadrant. Remember, this Jupiter also will be aspecting the 10th along with these two planets and the presence of Ketu there as well. So even if you do not have your interest leaning up, if you don't have enough motivation, you will and you must fight hard to ensure that you accomplish your goals, because the period from January 27th onwards all the way for the next 3 to 4 months is aligning you for those goals. Now, as this is happening, folks, you would be wondering, what about the next or the other transits? Somewhere around 29th of March, you will find that Saturn, which is the lord of your second and your third house, is going to be transiting into the sign of Pisces in your fourth house itself. Not one of the best positions from a directional element for Saturn, but Saturn has an okayish relationship, neutral relationship, if I may say, with Jupiter. So it is going to come under the same sign. And the challenging bit for Saturn is its alignment and conjunction with Rahu. It yet will be comfortable with the presence of Venus here, who is his friend. But guys, you must understand, I see for Sagittarius something big happening with respect to your assets or with respect to your mental peace. Why? Because around this period itself, you will have Sun as well as Mercury who will be transiting and reaching this house. So you will have at one point in time Sun, Mercury, Venus, all of them along with Saturn, 5 planets present in conjunction in your fourth house itself. This would also be the period where you would want to take care of your mother's mental health and physical health as well. She must take precautions with respect to her joints whilst taking stairs, walking around, or whilst driving as well. This is one thing that you must. Now, Saturn is the lord for your second and third lord moving into the fourth, or second lord also moving into the fourth, definitely signifies that there will be some support of your family members, some sort of encouragement coming in from your family to start something of your own, to build something of your own. Now, that can be around your education, it could be around your studies, it could be around your career, new portfolio of work in itself. But there will be ample of support coming in your family, and you yourself will be putting in that hard work, that element into fruition, into action, so to speak. It is also possible that many of you post the transit of Saturn would want to take a short family trip, weekend getaway, and there will be multiple such scenarios coming in for you folks, Sagis, in the next 2.5 years. So you will be motivated to take such kind of outings. Saturn present here is, of course, going to be aspecting your 10th house, which is phenomenal. It is going to be aspecting your 6th house as well. And it is not going to be a bad aspect. Why? Because it is an aspect into the sign of Taurus and then on Virgo respectively. So from a profession perspective, this Saturn is going to push you to the next level. This Saturn will also give an aspect to your Lagna, to your first house in the sign of Sagittarius itself. And guys, this is where I would want you to practice some sort of patience, because Saturn is going to test you in this presence in the fourth house. Who better than the Scorpios can tell you that for the last 2.5 years? It is going to throw some challenges. It is going to see that whether or not you are equipped to overcome. And Sagis, knowing you, you are well prepared and you should be well prepared to overcome those challenges from Saturn. As we move ahead in the year, what we notice is mid of May, around 14th and 15th, is when this Jupiter will now be transiting from your 6th house to your 7th house into the sign of Gemini. Now, Jupiter will not be very comfortable into the 7th house, but it is not at all a bad aspect. Why? Because once it moves here, it is going to bring in probabilities for many of you to get married, to get into new relationships, or pursue new kind of partnerships. Remember, Jupiter is the lord of your 4th house as well as your Lagna. So your Lagna lord coming into the 7th is going to bring in a lot of strength for you to pursue new initiatives. This will be a period where you will gain respect in your social circle as well. It is moving 4 places away from itself, fourth to fourth. So Bhavarth, Bhavam is coming into play for you folks. And this is the period during this transit, the couple of months that you faced challenges with Saturn's transit is when Jupiter is going to provide you that respite. So you are going to find yourself at a much better place, at a much more mental peace, so to speak. Now, this Jupiter is also going to be giving an aspect to your 11th house, to your Lagna, and to your 3rd house. Hard work will be on the rise for you. Goal achievement, fulfillment, wish fulfillment, target achievement will be on par for you. It is going to be aspecting your Lagna, means it is going to bring out that level of spirituality, self awareness, confidence in you, and it is going to empower you to make the right decisions during the course of these 3 to 4 months where it will be stationed in this house itself. Before we jump into the next transit of Jupiter, we must also understand that Rahu and Ketu will be flipping themselves. Rahu will be moving into your 3rd house while Ketu will be coming into your 9th house. And it's a beautiful movement for you folks, Sagittarius. Why? Because Rahu's presence in the 3rd house is something I really like. It brings in the ability for a person to work harder, to push their limits, to experiment into new areas, to go out and discover what is uncharted, meaning you will be open in terms of your communication. You will be confident with respect to your communication. You will be building new bonds with your neighbors, taking more and more vacations during this period as well. In fact, for some of you, I also anticipate that some sort of a pilgrimage or spiritual journey might also come into play along with your partner, because Jupiter and Rahu will be trying to each other during this phase as well. Now, Ketu's presence in the 9th house absolutely demands some level of inclination towards the spirituality, because this Ketu is going to aspect your Lagna as well, and it is going to trigger some of those thoughts. Yes, one tricky bit that will come into play is that if you are planning any kind of conceiving of a child, or if you are into a romantic relationship, those two areas might find some tricky situation with this transit of Ketu. And that is where I would want you to be careful and make sure that your natal dashas are aligning well. And if you would want to get deeper clarity, I will recommend you to check out my email as well as my Instagram DM. Reach out to me where I can do an yearly natal plus transit analysis so that you can plan your next 12 months better and rule the planets, as I keep on saying in my videos in my channel. Now, as we move ahead, we notice that this Jupiter is going to be transiting into your 8th house, into its own sign of exaltation in this last part of the year, which is in October 18th, around October 18th itself. And this is where Jupiter gets exalted. Jupiter is the only planet that I'm comfortable with sitting in the 8th house. So from here, it is going to be giving a debilitated yet an aspect to your 2nd house, which means it is going to be a very good period for you to continue to add to your savings. Some way or the other, I anticipate that you might go in a hiding, you might go in isolation and prepare for a big assault. And that is the word I'm going to use, because Sagittarius is the zodiac of that Brahmin who is the aggressive form of Jupiter. So you are going to prepare for an assault. You are going to prepare yourself for the next big goal that you want to achieve. And you would want to do the preparation in isolation, which is not at all a bad thing. It is the lord of your 4th, your knowledge as well, going into 5 places away into the 8th house. So it's a good movement. Guys, it's a very good movement. And this is a period where you can plan for the higher education, for PhD, research, occult. If you are in a job that demands you to work in isolation or in hiding, again, success coming your way in that area as well. Now, exaltation here also means that your interest in astrology, your interest with Dev astrology, your connection with Dev might also improve. But jokes apart, the point I'm trying to make is that somewhere or the other, there will be a heightened level of spirituality also coming into play. This same Jupiter is going to be giving an aspect to your 12th house in the sign of Scorpio. So that level of spiritual bend of mind, which you guys already enjoy, is going to further enhance. This Jupiter will also be giving an aspect to his own house in the sign of Pisces in the 4th house, which is a good aspect, because not only you will be spiritually uplifted and aligned, but it will also give you a perspective, introspect, to look inwards and develop that calm, that finesse as to how and in what situations you are able to address the needs of your family, your material goals, as well as your spiritual goals. So it's a good period and you must leverage that. Health-wise, I think it is the first half of the year should be much better for you. With Venus's exaltation, things are looking great in your case. As well as we move ahead, Venus will at later point in time come in its own sign in its own house, and thereby for a major part of the year you will feel comfortable. Relationships look great. Marriage prospects, as I've already talked about, look awesome in the middle part of the year. And last but not the least, guys, this is the year where you must achieve your goals, you must fulfill your goals. Venus is aligning towards that. Jupiter is aligning towards those goals. As you move ahead in the year, you will realize that the right support is going to come from planets like Mars when they come out of their debilitation and move in a much more suitable situation in the sign of Leo for you. So, guys, that was my understanding. Quick, brief analysis as to how 2025 is going to look forward for you. If you've enjoyed this reading, then smash on that like button and subscribe to the Astrology. Thank you for watching. Om Namah Shivaya.